Hello, this is your Master GongSun. Very special welcome to my wonderful students and subscribers who have stuck with me for so long, and I hope will stick with me until I expire, or until the end of time, whichever happens first. This is the Civilizing the Barbarian Sutra, known as the Huahu Jing in Mandarin. Let us begin with chapter 77. Humanity grows smarter, but there is more trouble and less happiness. So, how did this happen? It's because intelligence is not the same thing as wisdom. When a society misuses partial intelligence and ignores holistic wisdom, its people forget the benefits of a plain and natural life. Seduced by their desires and emotions and egos, they become slaves to bodily demands, to luxuries, to religion and psychological excuses. Then the reign of calamity and disaster and confusion would begin. But superior people can awaken during times of turmoil to lead others out of the disaster. But how can the one liberate the many? By first liberating his own being. So this harkens back to the previous two chapters, 75 and 76, where in order to change the world, you must first change yourself. But how do you liberate yourself? Well, you don't do it by elevating yourself above others, but you lower yourself. You don't try to elevate yourself above the group you're trying to serve. Right? Instead, you must become simple and modest and true. Once you are freed from your former false life, you will discover your original pure nature, which is the pure nature of the universe. If you are free and spontaneous, then you can release your divine energy and you will transcend complicated situations. Because you are a living divinity, when you act, the universe will also act. Now, this is a more complicated chapter, so it needs some breaking down. But essentially, it's all true. Have you noticed in today's modern daily life, we are growing smarter. In fact, we are giving our intelligence to artificial things such as machines, right? AI, which I must warn against. I believe it's a horrible idea to continue in this direction. We must stop AI. There are lots of unforeseen consequences if we continue in our hubris. We continue to experiment in things that, sure, might be somewhat useful to humanity for the time being, but there's lots of unforeseen consequences that we cannot control. And I believe that's what this chapter is warning us about. So Lao Tzu was able to, thousands of years ago, predict what would happen thousands of years from when he lived. He is truly a realized person or Zenren, definitely a Zenxian or an immortal. So let us continue with this. So he says it's because even though there's more intelligence, we're less happy. And why is that? Because intelligence is not the same thing as wisdom. And when we misuse intelligence and ignore wisdom, our people forget the benefits of a plain life. We're seduced by power and desires and emotions and egos and pleasures, right? I mean, I have heard of, or I know people, friends of friends, who are drug addicts, and that's horrible because they're seduced by these momentary, temporary, evanescent pleasures that will give them some pleasure for a brief moment in time, no more than a couple minutes, and then they're off again looking for their next high. No, that is bad. We should not rely on external substances to feel fulfilled. That's a problem with these drug addicts. They will never feel fulfilled. Nothing will fulfill us like spiritual fulfillment, like being at peace, being in union with the Tao, understanding the Tai Chi and the Wu Qi. That will fulfill us the most. Let us continue. So we are slaves when we give in to these bodily demands, these pleasures, these luxuries, to power, even to unbalanced religion, psychological excuses. Then the reign of confusion begins. So this is actually a recipe for how we get out of this. We need more people, such as those who are watching us, my students, right, to become more realized, to progress spiritually. This is how we can lead others out of this man-made, self-created disaster? And how can one liberate the many? By what we've been talking about all along in the previous few chapters, by liberating yourself, not by elevating yourself above the group that you're supposed to serve, but by lowering yourself. You must become simple, modest, and humble, truthful. Anyway, I know that's a lot to take in, so you have to take some time to think about it. But I promise you it's all worth it. This has been your Master GongSun. As usual, keep living in alignment with the Tao.